Good evening, students. This is Arvind, Assistant Professor, Department of Triple DBSIT Kavali. So, in the previous session, I discussed about numerical problems on torque equation and different types of DC motors. And now, in this class, I'm going to discuss different types of DC machines, like different losses in a DC machine, like iron losses, core losses, and next mechanical losses, stray losses, like that. So firstly, I will discuss what is meant by loss and what are the different types of losses in the DC machine. So firstly, DC machine is a rotating machine. DC machine is a rotating machine. Thus, some amount of power is wasted in all mechanical parts or machine parts. Okay. So DC machine is a rotating machine. So that's why we have some power wastage. Okay, so this wastage of power is called losses. Okay, the various losses in a DC machine, whether it is a motor or a generator, are classified into three groups. Those are copper losses, iron or core losses, or magnetic losses, and lastly we have mechanical losses. So it consists of stray losses also. It includes stray losses also. Okay, firstly I will discuss copper losses. So actually the copper losses are the losses taking place due to the current flowing in a winding. Okay, so there are basically two windings in a DC machine. You already know these things. Okay, there are basically two windings in a DC machine, namely armature winding and field winding. Okay, the copper losses are proportional to the square of the current flowing through these windings. Okay, so it is given in a equation ways, that is Ia square Ra. This is the copper loss. Okay, and next, so thus the various copper losses can be given by, we have different types of copper losses. Those are armature copper loss, field copper loss. Okay, so in field copper loss also we have different types, namely two types. Those are shunt field copper loss and series field copper loss. Okay, firstly we will discuss armature copper loss. So actually losses occurring in the armature winding is called armature copper losses. So it is given by, you know already this thing, Ia square Ra. Ia square Ra. Next, we are coming to the field copper losses. So losses occurring in the field winding is called field copper losses. So it consists of two components. One is shunt field copper loss and another one is series field copper loss. So the shunt field copper loss is represented with the equation Isc square Rsc. Okay, and next coming to the series field copper loss. So it is represented with the equation Ish square into Rsh. So here Isc is equal to series field current. Okay, next Rsc is equal to series field winding resistance. And next coming to ISH. So ISH is a shunt field current and RSH is a shunt field winding resistance. Okay, these are shunt field and series field copper losses. Next coming to, so in a compound DC machine, both shunt and series field copper losses are present. Okay, in a compound DC machine, both shunt and series field copper losses are present. So in addition to the copper losses, there exists brush contact resistance drop also. So it is usually included in the armature copper losses only. Okay. Next, they add to about 20% of the total full load losses. That means in the total full load losses, the copper losses occupies 20% of the space. Okay. Next, core losses. It is also known as iron losses or magnetic losses. Okay. So it consists of hysteresis loss and eddy current loss. So actually the iron losses consists of two losses. One is hysteresis loss and another one is eddy current loss. Firstly, we will discuss eddy current losses. Okay, so if you see this diagram, so it consists of two poles. One is north pole and another one is south pole. North pole is on the left side of the diagram and south pole is in the right side of the diagram. So in between two poles we have one circle, two circles actually. So one circle is in a thick line and another circle is in the dotted lines. So the thick line represents armature core and the dotted line circle represents eddy current. Okay, so I will discuss this eddy current losses mainly. In a DC machine, armature windings are wound on armature core. Okay, in a DC machine, armature windings are wound on armature core. So this armature core or iron core, so it is also known as iron core. So this armature core is represented in the diagram with a thick line circle. Okay, next, when the iron core rotates in the magnetic field, so this magnetic field is occurs because of presence of two poles. So in between two poles we have one magnetic field. So in that one, when the iron core rotates, that means when the armature core rotates in the magnetic field, EMF is induced in the core. Okay, and circulating currents are caused to flow. Okay, so due to these circulating currents are known as eddy currents. Okay, due to this eddy current, some amount of power is wasted in the armature core. So this loss is called eddy current loss. Okay, this loss is called eddy current loss. Okay. Next, the eddy current loss can be reduced by using laminated cores. Okay, so the eddy current loss is given by W suffix E, that is equal to K into Bm square F square T square V square. So this is the eddy current loss equation. We is equal to K into Bm square F square T square V square, where K is the constant depending on the material. Okay, and next, Bm, this is the maximum flux density in Tesla. Tesla is the units of flux density. Okay, next, coming to F. So F is the frequency of magnetic reversal in hedges. And next, coming to T. So this is thickness of laminations. And lastly we have V, that is the volume of armature core. Okay, and next, coming to hysteresis losses. Okay, so in the hysteresis loss also we have two poles, one is north pole and south pole. So in between these two poles we have one armature core. Okay, so in the armature core, in between north and south pole, we have one small piece of iron. Okay, so it consists of two sides, one is A and one is B, and while it rotating, it moves to south pole and north pole frequently, south and north. So this operation I will discuss. Okay, so here I am taking a two pole DC machine. For that one, I am taking, for a two pole DC machine, consider a small iron piece such as AB. So if you observe the diagram, so in between the south pole and north pole we have one armature core. So in the armature core and in between, so north pole and south pole, we have one thick line is there, horizontal line. It is indicated with the arrow marks also. Okay, so this one is called small iron pieces, that is in between we have one square shaped line is there, square shape is there. This square shape is a small iron piece. So it consists of two sides, one is A and one is B. Okay, so here I am taking a two pole DC machine. It consists of a small iron piece such as AB. So it is subjected to alternating flux. Okay, alternating flux as it rotates under north and south poles. It is shown in the figure. So that horizontal line is a flux line. Okay, so when the small iron piece under north pole, we have two poles, one is north pole and another one is south pole. So if the small iron piece under n pole, that is north pole, main pole flux passes through it, main pole flux passes through it from A to B. Okay, so that causing the appearance of south pole at A and n pole at B. So we have A side and B side. So on the A side we have appearance of S pole, that means south pole, and on the B side we have the appearance of north pole. Okay, so after half year evolution, the iron piece comes under the influence of main south pole, and now main flux passes through it from B to A, that is a reversal. Okay, actually, when the small iron piece under north pole, so when the small iron piece is under north pole, this is the main pole. Okay, so the main pole flux passes. So whenever we have the main pole, so it consists of flux. So that horizontal straight line, that means thick line, so that is the flux line. So that flux passes through it from A to B, causing the appearance of south pole at A point and n pole at B point. Okay, So after half a revolution, the iron piece comes under the influence of main south pole. So previously we have north pole. So the small piece under the influence of north pole. Now in this case, after half a revolution, the iron piece comes under the influence of main south pole, and now main flux passes through it from B to A. So previously the flux influence passes through it from A to B. So here in this case the main flux passes through it from B to A, that causing the appearance of south pole at B. So in the previous case the south pole at A, and here in this case the appearance of south pole at B and north pole at A. So previously the north pole at B. Okay. Thus in half a revolution the magnetism of iron piece AB is reversed. Okay, under the influence of north pole we have AB sides, and under the influence of south pole the magnetic flux passes through the point B to A. Okay, so that means thus in a half a revolution the magnetism of iron piece AB is reversed. Okay, next. So when the armature rotates in the magnetic field, that means armature core or iron core. So when the armature rotates in the magnetic field, there are continuous magnetic reversal of the armature core. Okay, there are continuous magnetic reversal of the armature core when the armature rotates in the magnetic field, and power required for their reversal is called hysteresis loss. So some power is required for their reversals, so that power required is called the hysteresis loss. That means some power is wasted. Okay, so here if P is the number of poles and N is the armature speed in RPM, then the frequency of magnetic reversals is F is equal to Pn by 120. So where P is equal to number of poles, N is the armature speed and F is the frequency. So frequency F is equal to Pn by 120. Next, so this hysteresis loss is can be reduced by using special silicon steel. Special silicon steel. So why? Because it should have low hysteresis coefficient and high electrical resistivity. Okay, so the hysteresis loss is proportional to the frequency and the maximum flux density in the air gap, and is given by hysteresis loss is equal to W suffix h is equal to eta into Bm power 1.6 F into V watts. So where eta is hysteresis coefficient, Bm is the maximum flux density in Weber per meter square, and V is the volume of the core in meter cube. So hysteresis equation is eta Bm power 1.6 into F into V watts. Next, the hysteresis loss is minimized by selecting the core of the material having low hysteresis coefficient. Low hysteresis coefficient. So while eddy current loss is minimized by selecting the laminated construction for the core. Okay, while eddy current loss is minimized by selecting the laminated construction for the core. So these losses are almost constant for the DC machines. Okay, that means the iron losses are almost constant because machine is operated at constant flux density and constant speed. Okay, so these losses are about 20% of total full load losses. So in the previous loss, that means in the copper loss also, the copper loss are about 20% of the total full load losses. Here also the iron losses are about 20% of total full load losses. Okay, these iron losses are also called magnetic losses. Okay, and next coming to mechanical losses. So actually these losses consist of friction and windage losses. So the mechanical losses consist of friction and windage losses. So what is meant by friction and what is meant by windage loss? So here some power is required to overcome mechanical friction and wind resistance at the shaft. Okay, so this loss is nothing but the friction and windage loss. Okay, some power is required to overcome the mechanical friction and wind resistance at the shaft. So this loss is nothing but the friction and windage loss. So the mechanical losses are also constant for a DC machine. Okay, so here the friction losses at bearings and commutators. So these friction losses are occurred at bearings and commutator parts of a DC machine. And next, windage losses are produced by friction between the armature and the air inside the machine casing. Okay, so these losses are about 10% and 20% of the total full load losses. Okay, total full load losses. And next, the magnetic and mechanical losses together are called stray losses. Okay, the magnetic and mechanical losses together are called stray losses. Magnetic losses is nothing but the iron losses. Okay, the magnetic and mechanical losses together are called stray losses, or the sum of magnetic and mechanical losses together are called stray losses, or the addition of magnetic and mechanical losses is called stray losses. Okay, so for the shunt and compound DC machines, whether the field current is constant, field copper losses are also constant. Okay, for the shunt and compound DC machines where the field current is constant, field copper losses are also constant. So the stray losses along with constant field copper losses are called constant losses, while the armature current is dependent on the load, and thus armature copper losses are called variable losses. So armature copper losses are called variable losses, and field copper losses are called along with the stray losses is constant losses. Okay, thus for a DC machine, total losses is equal to constant losses plus variable losses. Okay, and next I will show you the power flow and energy transmission diagrams at various stages. That means which takes place in a DC machine are represented diagrammatically in those figures. So here I will show two diagrams. One is for the power flow diagram of a DC generator, and another one is for power flow diagram of a DC motor. Okay, so this is the power flow diagram of a DC generator. Okay, so actually this diagram shows the power flow of a DC generator. So actually in the DC generator definition, so DC generator definition is, so the generator is a machine which converts the mechanical power into electrical power. That means here we are using input power is mechanical power, and output power is electrical power. Okay, so in between we have the losses, because the DC generator is a rotating machine. That means in between we have electrical power developed in the armature. Okay, so mechanical input, when we give the mechanical input power, so after that we have iron and mechanical losses. Okay, iron and mechanical losses. After that we have electrical power developed in the armature, that is EGIA, that is the generated EMF into armature current. So after that we have the copper losses, and lastly we have the electrical power output, that is V into IL. Okay, V into IL. So from this one I am telling that the efficiency, the formula for the efficiency is the ratio of output power to input power. Okay, and we will write input power in other words like output power plus total losses for a DC generator only, not for a DC motor. It is for only DC generator. This is the power flow diagram of a DC generator. Okay, and next coming to the power flow diagram of a DC motor. So here the input power is the electrical power and output power is the mechanical power. Okay, so here the electrical input power P in is equal to V into IL. This is the output of the DC generator. So the output of the DC generator is given to the input to the DC motor, and it will give mechanical output power as an output for the DC motor. So in between it develops mechanical power in the armature. So that is nothing but EB into IA. So actually in the DC generator we have electrical power developed in the armature. That equation is EG into IA, that is the generated EMF and armature current. So here we are using EB into IA, that is back EMF and armature current. So in between we have the copper loss and iron and mechanical losses. So actually in the DC generator, the input is mechanical input power. So after that we have iron and mechanical losses. But here in the DC motor, after giving the input power, that is electrical power, we have copper losses. And after that mechanical power is developed in the armature. And next we have iron and mechanical losses. Lastly we have the mechanical output power, that is P out. So from this one, I am writing efficiency of a DC motor is equal to output power by input power. Here, the output power is written in other words like input power minus losses. That means total losses. Input power minus total losses. So these formulas are used in the uh, numerical problems of a losses of DC motor. In that one, we are using this efficiency formulas and output power, input power, like this we are using. Okay. So this is the losses of a DC machine concept. And next coming to the problems. So in this section I will discuss numerical problems on losses of a DC machine and efficiency. Okay. So first we will see the problem. So here they given that a 250 volts 4-pole shunt motor has two circuit armature winding with 600 conductors. Okay. Next, the armature winding resistance is 0.35 ohms and field winding resistance is 150 ohms, and the flux per pole is 0.03 webers. Here the armature reaction is neglected. If the motor draws 15 amperes from the supply, then compute speed and internal torque developed. Internal torque is nothing but the armature torque or total torque or gross torque. Okay. And next, the second one is the shaft power, shaft torque, and efficiency with rotational losses equal to 400 watts. That means by using this data, we have to compute or determine the speed and internal torque and shaft power, shaft torque, and efficiency with rotational losses equal to 400 watts. So here they given that the rotational losses, that means variable losses. Okay. So here they given that the supply, firstly we will after before we compute these things, firstly we will note down the data from the given problem. So in this problem they given that supply voltage, that is 250 volts, and the number of poles, that is 4, and armature total number of conductors, that is 600, and armature winding resistance, that is Ra 0.35 ohms, and field winding resistance, that is RSH, okay, that is 150 ohms. Because it is a shunt motor, that's why I am writing the field winding resistance as RSH, that is 150 ohms, and flux, that is phi, is 0.03 webers. Okay. And next, the current 15 amperes. Okay. And rotational losses 400 watts. So by using these data, we have to compute the speed and armature torque or total torque or gross torque or internal torque, and shaft power, shaft torque, and efficiency. Okay. So coming to the solution. So coming to the solution of this problem. So actually it gives the lap connection. So the wave connection. So that means if it is armature winding is a wave connection, we have the relation A is equal to 2. That means number of parallel paths is equal to 2. Okay. So that's why I am taking A is equal to 2. Okay. So A is equal to 2. And next, firstly we will calculate the internal torque and power. Okay. So before going to calculate the internal torque, that means gross torque, uh, and power developed in the armature, firstly we will calculate the shunt field current. Why? Because here they given that the shunt motor. That's why firstly we will calculate shunt field current. So you know the formula ISH is equal to V by RSH. That is the shunt field current formula for a DC shunt motor. ISH is equal to V by RSH. So in the problem they given that supply voltage is 250 divided by RSH, that is the shunt field resistance, that is 150 ohms. So 250 by 150 we will get 1.66 amperes. as the shunt field current. And next we will calculate the armature current for a DC shunt motor. That's why we have Ia is equal to IL minus ISH. If it is for a DC generator, the armature current formula Ia is equal to IL plus ISH, and now we are going to calculate the. That's why here the IL minus ISH. So in the problem only they given the line voltage, that is 15 amperes, minus shunt field current. Previously we calculated this one, that is 1.66. Substitute here we have 15 minus 1.66, that is IL minus ISH. We have the value 13.34 amperes. This is the armature current. And next we are going to calculate the back EMF. So actually we know the voltage equation formula for a DC motor, that is V is equal to EB plus IARA. So from that one I am writing back EMF EB is equal to V minus IARA. Substitute supply voltage, armature current and armature resistance in this formula. So we have 245.3 volts as the back EMF value. And using the relation, the formula for a DC generator, that is generated EMF, and for a DC motor it is also known as back EMF, that is EB is equal to 5PNZ by 60A. This is the formula. By using this we have to calculate the speed. So from this formula EB is equal to 5 by 60A, I am rewriting this as N is equal to speed is equal to EB into 60A by P5Z. So substitute EB value, that is the back EMF value. Just now we calculated that value, that is 245.3 volts into 60 into A, that is the number of parallel paths. So that is actually it is a wave connected armature. That's why I am taking A is equal to 2. So substitute A is equal to 2 here, divided by P means number of poles. So in the problem they given that 4 pole, that is 4 into flux. So in the problem they given that flux is 0.03 webers, that is 0.03 into Z, that is the total number of conductors, that is 600. They already given in the problem. So after solving this equation we have 409 rpm as a speed for a DC shunt motor. And next I'm going to calculate the power developed in the armature, that is PM is equal to EB into IA. So actually this power developed in the armature for a DC motor, we have this formula EB into IA. Similarly, power developed in the armature for a DC generator, we have the formula, that is EG into IA, that is the generated EMF into armature current. For a DC motor it is EB into IA, that is back EMF into armature current. So EB value already 245.3 volts into armature current, that is 13.34. After substituting these two values into this equation, we have 3262.5 watts, that is 3262.5 watts. That is the power developed in the armature. Next we have to calculate the armature torque. So this is also known as armature torque or gross torque or internal torque. Okay, so here the armature torque formula is Pm by omega. Pm by omega. So that is equal to Pm by, already omega is equal to 2 pi n by 60. You know this formula. In the torque equation also we have this one. So omega is equal to 2 pi n by 60. So I am already calculated this Pm value. There is a power developed in the armature, that is 3262.5 by 2 pi into. So already we calculated a speed value, that is 409 by 60. So overall we have the armature torque value, that is 76.17 Newton meter. So this is the armature torque and speed values for the given problem. And next we have the shaft power, that is shaft power is equal to, the formula. It is the shaft power is equal to power developed in the armature minus rotational losses. So in the problem they already given that the rotational losses is equal to 400 watts. Substitute 400 watts, and PM already we discussed it in the previous case, that is 3262.5. Substitute here, that means 3262.5 minus rotational losses 400. We have the output power or shaft power, that is equal to 2862.5 watts. Finally we have to calculate the shaft torque. You know the formula tau sh is equal to, so for armature torque we have the formula tau A is equal to Pm by omega. For shaft torque we have PSH by omega, that is equal to PSH by 2 pi n by 60. So we already calculated PSH value, that is 2862.5 watts by 2 pi into speed already we calculated, that is 409 by 60. And finally we have the shaft torque value, that is tau SH is equal to 66.83 Newton meter. So this is the solution for the problem. And one more thing I forgot, that one is efficiency. So you know the efficiency formula, that is equal to output power by input power. In the percentage we have output power by input power into 100. So we already calculated the output value, and now we are going to calculate the input power, that is P in is equal to V into IL. V into IL, that is the formula to calculate the input power of a DC motor. V into IL, that is equal to, that is the input power means nothing but for a DC motor it is a electrical power. Okay, so P in is equal to V into IL. So in the problem also they given that the supply voltage is 250 into line current is 15. Finally we have the input power, that is 3750 watts. And now substitute this input power into efficiency formula, that is output power by input power. So in the output power place we have to substitute 2862.5, that is previously determined value, divided by input power. Just now we calculate this value, that is 3750 into 100. Finally we have the efficiency, that is equal to 76.33%. Okay, this is the solution for the problem number 1. Next, coming to the problem number 2. So they given that a 10 kilowatts 240 volts DC shunt motor draws a line current of 5.2 amperes while running at no load speed of 1200 rpm from a 240 volts DC supply. It has an armature resistance of 0.25 ohms and field resistance of 160 ohms. Estimate the efficiency of the motor when it delivers rated load. So this is the given data. So by using this one, we have to note down the given data. Why? Because here in this one, we have to calculate the efficiency value. So from the given problem, the data is here they given that the supply voltage is 240 volts and the output power they given, that is P out is equal to 10 kilowatts. And next they given that no load current, that is 5.2 amperes. This is nothing but line current. And next we have no load speed, that is N is equal to 1200 rpm, and armature resistance Ra is equal to 0.25 ohms and field resistance 160 ohms. By using this data we have to calculate the efficiency of a DC motor. Okay, and coming to solution. So here they given that no load input power. So actually they given output power. So we have to calculate the no load input power. So for a DC motor, we have the no load input power formula, that is equal to V into I naught. This is no load power. Actually for input power we have the formula V into IL, but here we have to calculate the no load input power. That's why we are substituting V into I naught. Okay, so in the problem they are given that supply voltage 240 into no load current, that is 5.2 amperes. Finally we have no load input power P naught is equal to 1248 watts, 1248 watts. And next we have in this one, this no load input power has to meet all kinds of no load losses. Okay, that means armature copper loss and constant loss. The input power has to meet the number of losses, that is armature copper loss and constant loss. Okay, so before calculating these losses, firstly we have to calculate shunt field current, because here they given that the shunt motor, that means shunt field current ISH is equal to V by RSH. So in the problem they given that supply voltage, that is 250 by RSH value is 160. Finally we have 1.5 amperes shunt field current. And next we have to calculate the no load armature current, that is IA naught. We know the formula for a DC motor, DC shunt motor, IA is equal to IL minus ISH, but here we have to calculate the no load armature current, that is IA naught is equal to I naught minus ISH. So I naught value is, they already given in the problem, that is 5.2 amperes minus ISH value. Just now we calculated that value, that is 1.5. Substitute here, we know we have the no load armature current value IA naught is equal to 3.7 amperes. Now no load armature copper loss we have to calculate or no load armature copper loss, that is Ia naught square Ra. So actually you know the formula armature copper loss Ia square Ra, but here no load armature copper loss, that is Ia naught square Ra. So that means Ia naught means no load armature current. Just now we calculated, that is 3.7. Substitute here 3.7 whole square into Ra value they already given in the problem, that is 0.25. Finally we have no load armature copper loss, that is 3.4 watts. And next we are going to calculate the constant losses. So to calculate the constant losses, we know the formula no load input power minus no load armature copper loss. So both losses we calculated, no load input power and no load armature copper loss. So no load input power is 1248 watts. No load input power and no load armature copper loss, that is 3.4 watts. So finally we have the constant loss, that is 1244.6 watts. Okay. And next, rated current. So that is load current, nothing but load current. IL is equal to, you know the formula in the problem they given that the power. So that's why I am using IL is equal to P by V. Okay, PL by V. So they given the power, that is 10 kilowatts, that is 10 into 10 cube by 240, that is the voltage. So finally we have the rated current or load current, that is 41.667 amperes. Next we have to armature current. So previously we calculated no load armature current, and now we have to calculate full load armature current. In the previous case we calculated no load current, and now in this one we calculated load current. And full load armature current formula, you know, Ia is equal to IL minus ISH. So armature current is 41.67 amperes, sorry, load current minus shunt field current they already given, that is 1.5 amperes. Substitute here, we know we have the value 40.16 amperes. And next we have to calculate the full load armature copper loss. You know the formula, that is Ia square Ra. So here Ia value is 40.16 and Ra value is 0.25. Substitute here 40.16 whole square into 0.25, we have the value 403.3 watts. And coming to the output power, so you know the formula to calculate the output power, that is input power minus total losses. So actually in the problem also they given the power, that is 10 kilowatts. Substitute here 10,000, that is 10 into 10 cube, 10,000 minus total losses, that is um, armature copper loss and variable losses. So here the armature copper loss is 403.3 and armature copper loss normal loss is 1244.6. That is the constant loss 1244.6. Just in the previous case we discussed, we calculated this thing 1244.66. Okay, this one constant loss 1244.6 watts. So here I am substituting that one. So we have 8352 watts. This is the output power. And next coming to efficiency. So to determine the efficiency, you know the formula eta is equal to output power by input power. So here the output power is 8352 watts divided by input power, that is 10,000. So that into 100, that is equal to overall we have the efficiency 83.52%. Okay, that's all. This is the losses in a DC machine and some numerical problems on this DC machine.